Hey everybody at MD, Bob Chick along with David Baye, and of course the great Shawn Ray. We are here at the USA's. We just got out a show in record time, by the way. I will brag about it all day long. Over 700 athletes across that stage. Shawn, give me your breakdown of the overall look of the USA's this year.
The overall looked good. I mean, in terms of a standout, somebody that's just going to rock the world, I didn't see that happening in tonight's competition. I was really impressed with the little guy, Brian Balzano, I believe his name is. I actually liked him. He never got the opportunity to stand in the middle. Frank Stinson was very complete. He was the best he's been. That hernia, though, has got to get taken care of. And, of course, Nick, he was the odds-on favorite coming in. Big. I thought he was holding a little bit of water, and it started to come out in that overall pose down. They made him work. But you had to take the guy, basically, who left the biggest impression, and he was the biggest, most impressionable guy on the stage. I just know he could be a little bit tighter.
Well, David, some of the classes were so close. The judges were judging tonight, in particular, the light heavies and the supers. They actually took a second look at. Very close competition.
Yeah, the super heavyweights, it was real close between John Ward and Nick. Kind of apples and oranges as far as their physiques go. John doesn't have the aesthetics that Nick has. Probably a little bit bigger than Nick. Conditioning-wise, they were both, I'd say, pretty close. They were both in decent condition, but as Shawn said, neither of them were razor sharp. It was nice to see them judged again tonight. I think it was just maybe just a reaffirmation that Nick deserved to be in the top spot, because obviously nothing changed from what people had guessed was going to happen yesterday. But it's nice to see these guys get a second look. It's they worked real hard, and obviously when you have a two-day show, things can change quite a bit.
Yeah, Shawn, for those who think that the night show doesn't count, it's just for show, it's awards, you can kind of let your guard down. Certainly not the case here.
Yeah, tonight it did. I mean, having a couple extra looks at these guys from yesterday, some of the guys came in better. I mean, Dusty Hanshaw improved. He really was two different bodybuilders from yesterday to today. Jonathan Ward, I think he let his guard down. His stomach was just too distracting for me. He was breathing downstairs when it should have been up here, so I kept being drawn down to his stomach, whereas Nick Trigg, he certainly looked like he was the overall package. Frank, too. Frank Stinson's got to control that midsection. As good as he was in his career at this stage, the guys, you have to learn how to control your breathing from your lungs up here in the chest and not downstairs in the lower body. But it was definitely, tonight was probably the best out of all the guys. They all improved from yesterday.
All right, David, you got the results here. We've got all the overalls. Maybe we can go down a few of the winners out there, or somebody that stood out to you.
Our women's bodybuilding winner, very small as far as numbers in women's bodybuilding. Alicia Young really jumped out, though. Shawn had talked about there not being a lot of people in this show that you think they're going to jump right into the IFBB and make an impression. I think she can. She's going to have to be leaner than she is today. But as far as being a complete bodybuilder, I think Alicia has everything she needs to jump into female bodybuilding in the IFBB and do well. There's a show in 2 weeks down in Tampa. We can expect to see her there. I don't know if 2 weeks is going to be long enough to tighten up as much as she needs to, but she could do well regardless. Some of the other classes, the figure A winner, Angela Yamashita, won the overall. Something is really rare to see at this national level.
She's a tiny one, too. I mean, she was a little dinky girl. Shorter than you, Shawn.
Yeah, I mean, she was short even for the figure A class. So to see somebody that short taking overall at a national level show speaks volumes about just how good she was. The bikini class, I had picked Brina Martinez, the Class E winner, as a hands-down favorite. She didn't get the nod. Candace Chamberlain got the bikini overall. Still a really competitive bikini class this weekend, or classes, all the way A through F.
And top two on all those classes going pro, other than the men. Now, the men still class winners go, but they're not going too deep. A move I definitely agree with.
In the bikini, I think giving 2 pro cards out is justified, because it's literally splitting hairs when it comes down to that, and those girls are so close in comparison to each other. And each category was full, chock-load of full quality girls. So I'm in agreement that they give out those 2 pro cards.
Yeah, the men not so much. I'm a traditionalist. We've talked about this on the radio many times. Class winners only. I don't like that too deep stuff that they do at the Nationals or some of the other shows. So I'm going to hope that stays the way it is. But you're right. But the numbers are huge when we talk about bikini, figure, and some of these other classes, men's physique. The classes. I mean, you're talking 50, 60 people in some of these classes. So you got to turn a few of them out there and get them into the pro ranks. But speaking of men's physique, David, how did that look?
The men's physique guys, I was actually really impressed. And 2 of the most impressive guys in the whole show, and I don't know their names off the top of my head, but I had mentioned it on the forums. They started Class A, and there was 2 guys in the first group comparison that both looked like they were leaner than most of the bodybuilders. And I made note of that on the forums. And the men's physique guys, catch a lot of heat on the forums and all over the fitness world as a whole. But there were some really good guys here today. If you take a look at the overall, you're going to see some very impressive physiques. And in fact, some of these guys, I don't know that if their legs match their upper body, which isn't always the case, some of these guys probably could have thrown on a pair of posing trunks and jumped in and done really well in bodybuilding. So,
well, let me ask you, Shawn. I mean, now, I think that's a spot-on, accurate assessment of what was going on. But is that a problem? I mean, conceivably, is that an issue in the future? Because once those guys, step it up a little bit more and they become bodybuilders with board shorts, that kind of negates the whole very idea of what the men's physique represents. Is that a slippery slope that the judges possibly find themselves going down?
I mean, when it's this deep and the guys are all overly muscular, I mean, you got to deal with what's there. And so each category, all top 5 guys, I think, were very on the verge of being bodybuilders. You take those shorts off and they got wheels to match the upper body, they could have easily crossed over. So they've got to make sure that there's a very thin line, that these guys don't come in too big. I did notice a lot of bodybuilders crossing over to men's physique. It's not happening the other way around. I don't see men's physique coming into bodybuilding. But overall, the quality was good of the men's physique.
Well, definitely something the judges are going to want to keep tabs on, because the minute men's physique becomes bodybuilding, it'll kill the division. That's what makes it as popular as it is it's not bodybuilding. It's completely different, and you're right, Shawn. The minute you can kind of exchange trunks there and go either or, that could be a potential problem. David, final assessments on the USA.
My final assessments, and I'm gonna reiterate what Shawn said earlier and what everybody in the media pit was saying. This middleweight, Brian Bolzano, really jumped out to me. Like if I have to talk about the most complete bodybuilder at this show, now Nick Cicherillo, a middleweight's not going to stand next to a super heavyweight as long as that super heavyweight's even in decent condition. But this Brian walked out, he was ridiculously shredded from head to toe. And we should note that this is only his second show. His trainer is Justin Compton. Justin was sending me messages as prejudging was going on. He did the Mike Francois, won the novice overall, the open overall, and came in here. I don't know how old he is. He can't be, yeah, he's, I was going to say early to mid-20s. And to me, again, he was the most complete bodybuilder as far as, we're talking about size, conditioning, everything.
Can he make a splash into 212, Shawn?
From tonight, he could have won a 212 pro show, so they definitely got that right.
Oh, big thumbs up from Shawn Ray, and that's going to be pretty good. All right, well, David, thanks for the assessment. Guys, of course, Shawn, I know you guys are buried in the pit all day doing play-by-play, so thanks for that. Of course, we love bringing all the bodybuilding action to our friends and fans over at MD. That's going to wrap things up here in Las Vegas at the USA Championships next week. I am in Sacramento, my friends, for the Golden State Grand Prix, one of the last pro shows on the circuit. Hane Rambod putting that together up there. And then, of course, it's off to Tampa, the Last Chance Saloon. So we're getting down there. 8 weeks to go for the Olympia. Joe Weider's 50th edition of the Olympia right back here in Vegas. That's going to wrap things up here. For these guys, I'm Bob Chick. We're out.